Hello everyone, xForts here, and welcome to the final day of JoJomas Day 8. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all. Today, we're going to be talking about Part 8, Josuke Higashikata, otherwise known as Gappy. So there's a lot to say about Gappy, Josuke, Josefume, whatever you want to call him. I'm just going to refer to him as Josuke, but the thing with him is that every single new part of JoJo, the character's always a little bit established, and when we first see them, we get a general idea of who they are as a character. With Giorno, Koichi sees him, and we get a bit of his personality. Same with Josuke, Jolene, Johnny, etc. Every single character has already had their personality defined, and they have we can get a general idea of what kind of a person they are in really the first scene they're in. But when it comes to Part 8 with Josuke, the first thing we see from him is him crawling out of the ground naked, having no memories, and no idea where he is or who he is. And things tend to change a lot in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but this moment right here where we get introduced to the main JoJo of Part 8 was completely different from any single part we've ever seen before. So immediately, right off the bat, that makes Josuke an extremely unique character and just really intriguing to me, at least. That when I first saw him, I was like, okay, I'm invested. I want to figure out more. I need to read. So now on to my favorite moment and my least favorite moment from Josuke. I'm kind of going to have two here because, people say that, he is Josefume, but he's not entirely Josefume. He has Yoshikage Kira inside him, but he is more Josefume than he is Kira, because obviously it was Josefume's body that acquired some parts of Kira, because Josefume's body was not found, but Kira's body was found. So I would say he's like 90% Josefume, like 10% Kira. So, starting with my favorite moment from Josefume, and that would be, of course, the moment when he sacrificed himself to save he wanted to save Kira. He wanted to sacrifice his life in order for Kira to live, because when Josefume was a child, Kira used his ability to save Josefume's life, and Josefume thought he didn't deserve that and he should have died in the ocean all those years ago. So what Josefume thought he was going to do was use equivalent exchange to, heal Kira and, sacrifice his life, exchange it for Kira's life. But since they manipulated the way that the Rokakaka branch grew, it sort of gave off a new breed of the Rokakaka, or a new, whatever the word would be for plants, a new strain of it would be. So, what that ability does is very ambiguous right now. We don't really know exactly, but what we've seen it do is fuse two people together. And it's kind of upsetting that Josefume didn't get the result that he wanted, sacrificing himself to save Kira, but at the same time, it worked to an extent, but neither of them are conscious of it. So that's just kind of upsetting, but it was a great moment seeing the resolution that Josefume had, and he really is an amazing character. And from start to finish, when we're first introduced to him in the flashback to the last moment, Josefume is the best. He's one of my favorite characters in the entire series. So then when we get to Josuke, the combination of Josefume and Kira, my favorite moment for him isn't like a battle or anything, even though he's had a ton of great moments and a ton of brutal moments defeating his opponents, and smart ways that he defeats him as well. My favorite moment for Josuke was when he found his purpose. His goal, what is he aspiring to do? It's when he discovered, more about who he is, his identity, and what his purpose is. Being alive, because he really had no idea for a good part of Part 8 so far. He really had no idea who he was, and he was just, piecing the puzzle pieces together, and he was nowhere near to completing it. But he recently, in during the Vitamin C arc after it, he really found out that I am Josefume Kujo mixed with Yoshikage Kira, and he almost knows as much as we know about him. And it was nice to see him finally get that, because for the whole part of Part 8, we have seen in flashbacks, we know who he is, we know he's a fusion of two people, but he doesn't, and he finally got that. And his mission right now is to learn more about the Rokakaka and learn more about who he is, and also protect Holly Kujo, who he would consider his mother, because he is a form of Yoshikage Kira. And I think that's great, how he took on the responsibility. It was a heavy burden as well, but he really needed a purpose, and he said, all right, even though, to take care of Holly's son, this is a bad situation, she's in bad health, and it's very expensive to take care of her, it's part of me. It's part of my burden that's put on me because I am part of Kira. So this is my purpose. I need to help my mother, essentially, is what he says. And it's like that's really fucking cool. Like, he's not just like, oh, you know, I don't really care who I am, I'm just gonna exist. He wants to find out who he is, and he wants to kind of continue the mission that the two people mixed into him were doing, Kira and Josufume. So I like Josuke so much, and there's really not a lot to dislike about him because he's so innocent compared to all the other JoJos who, you know, really do have their bad moments and their good moments. Josuke is very confused, so even if he does do something stupid or something that would, you know, rationally be seen as a bad thing, you feel bad for him because he doesn't know what he's really doing, and he doesn't have a lot of understanding of the things around him and how the way the world works. But obviously, as part 8 goes on, he gains more knowledge, he remembers more. He doesn't really remember more things, but he learns more things. So when it comes down to a least favorite moment from Josuke and Josufume, they're perfect. I can't. Although they are very good characters, I mean, they're not perfect characters, but there's nothing they do I dislike. I really enjoy both of these characters a lot. And like I mentioned, it's hard to, you know, get on Josuke about anything because he's really innocent. He's a very innocent character. And that was the 8th day of JoJomas, talking about Josuke Higashikata Part 8. Josuke Higashikata. So thank you guys so much for joining me on the 8 days leading up to Christmas and just talking about JoJo and you guys all discussing it in the comments. It was great. I really had a lot of fun with this, and I definitely plan on doing something next year related to JoJo. Maybe villains of each part, least and favorite moment from them, possibly. So Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all. I hope you guys all enjoyed your time here, and I hope you guys all have a great holiday. So now that JoJomas is over, we can get back on to regularly scheduled discussions, theories, and standoff episodes. Thank you to everyone who joined me in this year's JoJomas, and I hope you enjoyed.